Hello there, in this video I'm going to be showing you how to build this blog listing site using Remix. Remix is a full stack framework for building React sites. It was released as open source a few weeks back, so it's fairly new. So in this blog listing site, you've got this a blog listing page, and it's got some links on there that links to the details of the blog post, and it's got some simple navigation. So when you click on one of the links, it'll take you to the post page, and then you can go back, and there's also a landing page which has a different style to it. So we're going to be learning how to build this in Remix. So Remix is a full stack framework, and if you go to their site, they've got this sort of so they've got some sample code here which lists some projects, and you can also create a new project. So the UI code is here, and the basic pattern is that you write the UI code as an export default function in using normal React concepts. Okay, then you have some functions that you do a normal export, and these will be things like the loader, which deals with importing data from your databases or any other sources. So these are sort of server-specific functions, and this is the UI code. So that's the general pattern in Remix. So it's quite easy to grasp. So things to know about Remix is you write React code following the Remix conventions and patterns. A basic component can have a data loading part, which is server specific, and a UI part, like I just demonstrated. You can connect and integrate data from databases, so i.e. Postgres, MySQL, MongoDB, via Prisma or any other ORMs. Code gets compiled into server bundle and a browser bundle. The server bundle will include HTTP handlers among other server-side code. The browser bundle will include the compiled React UI code. One good feature of Remix is it uses file structure routing. This allows us to drop files into folders, and it will automatically produce the route name. There are many other features related to form handling, enhancing performance for static generation of web pages, and for sculpting your web pages for best SEO, accessibility, etc. So in this sort of a crash course, you will build a simple blog listing site, learn how to load data from the server side, you will learn how to structure your app using simple file routing concepts in Remix, learn how to modify navigation menus in the starter template files, learn how to import custom CSS files for styling web pages differently. So if you like tutorials like this, please subscribe to my channel, and let's get started. First, we're going to open up a terminal screen, and we're going to type in npx create remix and say at latest. Okay, this should install the latest. Now this is sort of an interactive builder, so it's going to give you some options, and I'll just go through them. So first of all, we're going to say we're going to give a name for our app. So I'm just going to call it Remix Blog. Okay, then you press enter. Okay, then you have these options here. Where do you want to deploy it? So you can deploy in different server environments. You've got Express Server, AWS, Fly.io, Netlify, and Vercel. Okay, so for this demo, we're just going to select the first default one, which is the Remix app server. So, and then it's going to ask for do you want to create TypeScript or JavaScript? So we're going to select JavaScript. So I'm just going to, with arrows keys, I'm going to select JavaScript and press enter. Then do you want to run npm install? Yes. So this is going to kick off the installation now. So once that's finished, then we're going to cd into our directory, app directory, which is Remix blog. And we're just going to open up in VS Code. So we're going to say code dot. So as you can see, it's loaded a Remix starter file. So as you can see, we got this sort of directory structure here. We've got the app directory, got the node modules, got a public directory. So let's look at the folder structure briefly. So you got the app folder, which has your pages. So we're going to be doing all the development work in the app folder. So for each page, you're going to have routes, and the index page will be for this particular initial build is the home page. Okay, then it has some sort of demo about pages and things like that there. Okay, so we're going to be sort of cleaning this out and building our own. Okay, so then you have your styles. So it's currently got some demo styles in there and global styles, and so we were going to delete everything and sort of just have global styles. Okay, so and then you got these sort of specific client side and server side scripts that stitches your application together. So you don't really need to do anything for this, but just be aware of them. And then you have your root.jsx. So this is sort of the main boilerplate sort of script that basically stitches everything together. So you have your main layout here. If I go down, okay. So if I go back up, I think it's so you have your app structure here. Okay, so you got your document wrapper, then you got your layout, then you got the outlet. So the outlet will be basically your content that what you develop in the app, in your routes and stuff. So the layout will be in this file. So if you go to the document component down here, so this is the document component. So this has some boilerplate stuff for the head and the body, and the children will be the actual layout. So if I go to the layout, so this is the layout. So currently we got if I go to the browser, so you got the header here, which is the navigation bar, then you got the content here. So in the layout, so we got this sort of a navigation part here. Okay, and then we got some we got deep with the main app, and then here we're going to have the children, which is going to be the content that we're going to be coding. So so in the layout, you have the children, which is the outlet, and the outlet is what you develop in the app. So it's basically your content. So anything to do with the sort of the header and the HTML meta tags and things like that, you modify here. Okay, and as you can see here, it feeds in the children, which is, as I said earlier, the outlet. So outlet will be the content, the actual content. So what we're going to do is we're going to be simplifying. So if I change the navigation, so I'm going to just change the navigation and make it 2 links. And I'm going to change that to, okay, that's going to be home. And we're going to change that to blog. Okay, so if I save that and then go to the browser. Okay, so it's changed the navigation links here, home and remix blog. So so we will change the navigation here, and all the other stuff will be in the app. So these you can say these are sort of shared layout for all your applications. So one thing you might have noticed is that we're using an a tag here and a link a component here to refer to the home page. So this is referring to the route, okay, internally. So and this is an external link. So internal links you refer to with the link component, and then external URLs you refer to as an a tag. Okay, so we're going to change this again. So we're going to replace it with a link. So we just copy that and replace it here. And so the link would have an attribute too, and so this is going to be blog. Okay, and I'm just going to change the wording on that. So just say blog. Okay, so that should but look at it, so it's changed that, and then if I just inspect that, it should refer to the route blog you can see here. Okay, so going back, all right, so just to recap, so we're in the layout component, and this is where you make changes to things like your navigation and any sort of, your main layout will go here. So, and your content, your pages will go in this section, children, as children. So it will be mainly what is referred to as the outlet. Okay, so everything in your app will get compiled and injected into here, basically. Okay, so the next thing is the CSS. Now the CSS is loaded in this way. So you import a style sheet from the actual style sheet on your directory, and the CSS directory or styles directory. Okay, so you load it like that. Then you have to export these as links so that it can be embedded in your head section. So currently we've got two style sheets embedded in the link section. So if I go into this, inspect, and then just look at the head section here. So we've got a style sheet, got two style sheets there. So link, build global, and a dark mode CSS. So that's what it's referring to. So you've got you're returning an array of objects, and here we've got two objects. One object refers to the global style sheet, so you got the rel and its type style sheet, and it's got a href as well. So this is referring to the dark style, and it's got some other attributes, media attribute associated with that as well. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're just going to use the global. So we're going to delete the dark style sheet, and we're going to remove the reference from the links object as well. Okay, so if I save that and go. Okay, so now if I inspect, I should only have one style there. Okay, so if we go to the head, so I only got the global style sheet. Okay, so I'm going to go back. So you can, in your pages, you can do this as well, so that only the style sheets that you want for that route gets loaded. So so this is for the global. So in the pages, you can import your custom style sheets. Okay, so we'll be covering that later. Next, what we're going to do is we're going to do some cleanup, and we're going to delete some of the files and folders that we don't need. Remember, when you run Remix Create, it installs all the sort of boilerplate template files that, just to create this basic demo. So so I'm going to go to the app directory, and under the roots, I'm going to delete the demo. Now, before we do that, I'm going to go to terminal, and I'm going to stop the server. Okay, and usually, on the right hand side, you see a node, a server running. Okay, so I just click on that, and then do just a Control-C, terminate, yes. Okay, so now I should be able to delete that. So I'll right click on demo and delete. Okay, and then I'm going to go into styles. Okay, I'm going to delete the demo directory there. Don't need. Okay, so we've got under styles, we've got two style sheets, global and dark. Okay, so we're not going to use the dark, so we're going to just delete that. Okay, so we just got the global.css, and so this is like the bare minimum, okay, that we need. So I can just go back to the terminal and just do npm run dev. Okay, then when it's running, I'm just gonna so now it's running, so I do a refresh. Okay, so I just got the basic stuff now. Okay, so it's running. Alright, so just gonna close that. Okay, so I got the basic app structure here that you need to start from scratch. So I got the index.js, which is the home page. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to just delete all this and create our simple page. Okay, so for a basic page, you just have import, and you want to import. So I'm going to use the link module here. Okay, from Remix. Okay, and then so I'm just going to have a standard, a basic React component. So it's going to be an export default. It's got to be an export default, and it's going to be a function, and I'm going to call it home, and it's going to return some JSX, and I'm going to have a empty fragment. Okay, and so I'm going to have some just h1, h2, and this is the home page, right? And we're going to also add a link using the link component, link, okay, and it's going to be to, and it's going to point to our blog route. Okay, so it's going to be /blog. Okay, so, and I'm say go to the blog. So I'll save that and see what it looks like. Okay, so this is a basic page with a page title and a link pointing to our blog. But if you click on it, it's not there. All right, because we don't have the blog page. So same with on the menu. Okay, so this is how you create a basic page. So if I go back and inspect what we've done, so we've created an index.jsx under the routes. Okay, so this immediately becomes the root route. Okay, so everything that you put under the routes, you know, will become one of the pages. Okay, so if you put about.jsx, then you can put /about. Okay, so so for example, we want to have a route for our blog. We can do it two ways. We can create a folder called blog and put an index.jsx inside it, or we can create one on the root route. Okay, so I can just do something like blog.jsx. Okay, so that we can navigate the /blog, or we can create a folder called blog, and inside the folder we have a file called index.jsx. Okay, so that will also navigate to /blog. Okay, so that's the two ways of doing that. Okay, so I'm just going to delete that and that one. So I'm just going to go over the app structure of our little demo. Okay, so we got the slash, which is the home page, /route. Okay, so which is actually our index of JSX. Okay, so we're going to create a folder called blog, and inside it we're going to have an index.js, which would list all the titles for our blog, and we'll also have links to it as well. And then we're going to have a route for individual posts. So it'll be this structure. So it'll be blog/post and /1 or 2 or 3. So that after that slash, you have a number which indicates the ID of the post. So it's going to be a dynamic way of creating your pages. Okay, so that's the app structure that we're trying to aim at. So I'm just going to delete this. Okay, so going back to that route, we're going to create a folder called blog. Okay, and inside the folder we're going to create an index.jsx. Okay, so this is going to be our blog listing page. So we're going to start off with import, and we're going to import a link component. Okay, and from Remix. Okay, then we're gonna export default function, and this is going to be our content for the page. So we're going to return some JSX, and in the JSX we're going to have a fragment, and within there we're going to have something h2. I'm just going to say latest post, and we're going to just do a p for now, and I'm going to say these are latest posts. Okay, so I'm just going to save that and see what that looks like. Do a refresh. Okay, so that page, as you can see in the URL, it's got /blog, and it lists, it's got the content for that page now. So I can navigate to the home page and then go to the blog, and it navigates no problems. Okay, so that's done. Next, we need to load some data into our application. Now, there is a specific way to load data into an application in Remix. So I'm going to go to the documentation site for Remix, and I'm looking at the data loading section here. Okay, so they have a basic example here. Okay, the way to load it is, this is a TypeScript example, so we can just ignore the type references here. So because we're going to be using just the JavaScript version. Okay, so the way to load data is, first you import the use loader data component, okay, from Remix. Okay, then you let loader equals an arrow function, and then basically you return your data like this. So here they're returning an array of objects. Okay, so and then in your browser bundle, when it gets compiled, there's a reference here, let products equals user load data. So this in Remix at compile time, it will integrate the data into there, and then you can render out the array like they're doing here. So there's two parts. This is going to be your browser bundle when everything gets compiled, and this is what the server uses to load the data and then integrates it into your browser bundle. So that's the general way to load data. So loading a data, you can also load data using a database or some other external APIs. So like they're doing there. So here they're doing a fetch with a REST call, and they're returning a JSON. Right? Or you can load data from a database. So here they've got an example with Prisma. Okay, so going back to our code. So first we're going to import the component, use loader data. Okay, then we're going to say let loader equals arrow function equals and then that arrow function is going to return an array. Okay, so we're going to have an array of objects. So this is basically going to be our post. So I'm just going to paste this data in there. Okay, so we've got 3 posts here, and so they all have an ID, a title, and a content. Okay, so if this was a database, then or a REST call, it will be an async function, but we're hard coding it in, so something to be aware of. Okay, so now we need to use this in our rendering function for the browser. Okay, so we're gonna say constant, and I'm gonna say posts equals, and I'm gonna say use loader data, open close brackets. Okay, so that will make the data available for this page. So one thing I forgot was I forgot to give the function a name. Now this still worked because we're exporting a function. So regardless of the name, now if we were importing it by name, then we need to sort of give this a name. So so we're gonna give it the page name, which is the blog. Okay, so now to render the data that we've received from the server, we need to map through it, and the usual way of rendering lists, okay, or array. So it's going to open close curly brackets, and I'm going to say posts dot map, and open close brackets, and we're going to have an arrow function, and oops, and then the arrow function is going to return, so it's going to have an argument of post, and then it's going to return a div, okay, and I'm also going to have a key value for that. So it's going to be equals to open close curly bracket, and it's going to be post dot id. So then for each post, we're gonna have a link, okay, and the link is gonna be to, and we're gonna say open equals to open close curly brackets, and now we as I highlighted earlier, the path is going to be something like slash blog and posts, and then a slash, and then it's going to be the ID. So it's going to be in this case I'm going to say plus post dot ID. Okay, so this should create a link to that post. Okay, so and I'm going to have some text there, which is going to be the title of the post. So I'm going to open close curly brackets. So I'm going to extract the title from the post. Okay, so it's going to be post dot title. Okay, so I've just constructed a link. Okay, and the link has a route, which is blog slash post slash, and I'm using the ID as a unique identifier for it. Okay, and then I got the title as the text for that link. Okay, so if I save this, go to a browser. So it looks like an array. It's not picking up that the data. So it's coming out, the array is coming out null. So it's not loading that data. So if I go back to the loader, now I think what I've done is I've missed out export. So this is very important. You have to export that loader variable, otherwise it won't pick it up. Okay, so if I save that, go, there you go. So now I've got the titles of all the posts and the links. If I go to the links, the page is not found. Okay, so I've got the links, and if I inspect the links, and it should have a route, as you can see here, blog slash post slash 1, and the next one is blog slash post slash 2, and the third one is 3. Okay, so I've got the titles and the links correctly. So now all I have to do is create the pages for these posts. So going back to our code, what we need to do is we need to create a folder structure for this route, and then the associated files for the route as well. Okay, so so what we need to do is go into the blog, and we need to first create a folder called posts. Okay, and now under posts we're going to have so first we're going to manually create these pages. So I can just do 1.jsx, okay, and I'm just going to have a standard page. So I'm just going to copy from the main landing page. I'm just going to copy that and paste it in there. Just going to rename that and call it post 1. Okay, and so this is the title and maybe some content here. Content. I'll save that. Okay, then I can go to the browser. Okay, now this route should be okay now. Okay, so it's displaying that content. So go back. So what's happened here is that the route with post/1 exists, so that page is served, and post/2 is not served because we don't have a 2.jsx or a 3.jsx. Okay, so in Remix, what we can manually create these files, or do it the Remix way, which is creating this dynamically, so that if the route is anything with post slash anything else, it will serve a default component. Okay, so the way to do that is you just have to name it in a particular way. So I'm going to rename it. I'm going to prefix this with well, it's going to be prefixed with a $sign, and I give it a name, post ID. Okay, and if I save this, okay, now every route with post slash will be served by this. Okay, so if I go in the browser and I just go to the listing page, so this is served, okay, with that page, and this is also served with that page, and this is also served with that page. Okay, so now it doesn't matter if you know, I can modify this and put 1,000 in or something, and that file still be served. Okay, or I can put in any rubbish and it will get served. So as long as the route with post slash anything is served by this, okay, this page. So first of all, I'm just going to change this name to get post. Okay, so next what we need to do, we need to know which post we need to return. Okay, so in order to do that, we need to be aware of the routes, the ID part of the route. Okay, so it's /post/ID. So the way to get access to that is through a variable called a params. So what I'm going to do now is get access to that on the server side. So we need the use loader data, and then we're going to say export and let loader equals, and it's going to be an arrow function. Oops. And within that arrow function, that it will accept an object called params. Okay, so we have access to this on the server side, and then we can return that params dot, and that params would have a variable called post ID. Now this post ID is the same name as the name I've given with the $sign for that route. Okay, so it's picking up that that route name. Okay, so it's gonna store that the particular value in this variable. Okay, and this variable name is from the file name. Okay, so now when we're rendering it on the client side, we need to say say constant and say post equals, and we're going to say use load data. Okay, and this will access that ID now. Now I can echo it out. I can say post ID is open close curly brackets, and we just say post. Okay, so that should get access to the variable. All right, so if I go to the browser, okay, so go to the blog, so click on the first one, so it's returned 1, the post ID is 1, and it matches with the route. Okay, so if I go back, click on the second one, okay, its route is 2, and as you can see on the URL, it's 2 as well. So it's matching with the route. Okay, so if I put in anything in the route manually, it will also pick it up because there's no error checking or anything. So that's okay for from the beginning. So that's working. All right. Okay, now we got access to that parent's ID. Now I'm gonna expand this this callback function. Okay, so I'm gonna put in curly brackets, and what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna access the well, I'm gonna hard code the data in there, and I'm just gonna repeat what I've done in the other scripts. Okay, so I'm gonna say constant post equals array of posts. Okay, so I'm just gonna clean that up. So this is the same data that I've used before. I'm just replicating it here, so we'll see what we're doing. Okay, so we got the post, and it's equal to that. Okay, so it's equal to 3 objects, which is the post. Okay, now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do a dot find. Okay, on the array, and then I'm going to and in the array method, you can you provide a callback function which equals, okay, and this is going to return it's gonna we want to search the ID and return the matching object with the matching now we want to search this array with the parent's ID, and if it matches with the parent's ID, then we want to return that object. Okay, so this array find method will accept an argument. We're going to call it p, which so for each post we're going to compare the ID of it with the parent's ID. So we're going to say p.id, which is this ID. Okay, if it is equal to, triple equals to parents post ID. Okay, parents dot post ID. Okay, so on the server side, we as I mentioned earlier, we're going to access the parents post ID, and we should have the ID from the route. Okay, so now this is it's going to be a now this is a string, so we need to convert that to a number. Right, just put that in brackets and close brackets there. Okay, so if this is true, then a post will equal the matched object. Okay, so then we can have a simple error check. So if not post, so there is no match, then we're going to throw an error. Okay, and we're just going to have a simple message saying no posts. Oops, no posts found. Okay, then we need to okay, then we're going to say constant data equals open close curly brackets, and whatever that is the post contains, we're going to do a spread, and then we're going to get the individual items and store it into data, and that's what we're going to return. Okay, so then we're going to return data. Okay, so now in the render part, what the browser would see, we can access the individual ID, title, and content. So this will get populated by what we're saying here. Okay, so with the post that was matched. Okay, so we can now safely say we just echo out the post title and the content. Okay, so the content post dot title, and here we just say post dot content. Okay, so this should give us the content for particular routes. Okay, so from there, so it's got the first post and the second post and the third post, so they're all matching. Okay, so if I go into the URL and just type in any rubbish, there was an error, no post found. So it's doing that error check as well. There you go. Okay, so it's finding the ones that exist, and if it doesn't exist, then it will throw an error. So I just want to go over everything again. So all I've done was, I've searched through the array of posts that I've hard-coded in, and I used the find method to match the ID that is in the array with the ID that is extracted from the route, the parents dot post ID. So I've converted that to a number because it's a string. So if there's a match, then post will contain that particular object for that post. Okay, so then I've done a simple sort of error check. If there's no post, then it throws an error. Then I sort of destructured that the post. Then I returned the destructured object, so I can I can use it as post dot title in our render part. So as I said, this part can easily be fetched from a database. You can do all sorts of queries and things like that. So this was just a basic overview of how to do it. Okay, next we're going to do some styling. So before we do that, I'm going to go to the Remix document site, and I'm in the styling section. So if I go down, there's a section called regular style sheets, and that sort of tells you how to import the styles for your route. Okay, so they've got an example here, which for a dashboard, and they've got a dashboard.tsx as a route, and then as sort of nested routes for accounts and sales tax. So each of them are sort of importing these styles, and it tells you here how these styles will be applied. But we haven't configured it this way, but if you configure it this way, then it will probably work like this. But we're just going to import the styles for each route. Okay, so what I'm going to do is, so the way to import is, you import and you give it a style, and that's you refer to the location of that style. So it's just a normal import, and then you have to export function links. So this is like a sort of a hook that you use to export the style sheet, so it gets linked to the head section of the page. So I'm just going to copy this and just modify the names. Okay, so I'm going to go to the blog index page. Okay, so we've got two indexes here, so don't get confused with them. Okay, so I'm in the blog index page. Again, I'm going to go to the top and then I'm going to just paste it in there. So I've got the styles referring to dashboard, so I'm going to change that to blog.css. So we need to create a blog.css, so I'm just going to also I'm going to rename that to blog styles. Okay. So then in the export function, the links hook, then I'm going to refer to the blog styles here. So just just referring to that name, so it's going to be the same. Okay, and the rel is a style sheet. Okay, so this is imported that style sheet, and so we need to create the blog.css. So I'm going to go to styles, and then I'm going to create a new file called blog.css. Okay, so in it, I'm just going to give it some, give a body style of background linear gradient, and it's going to be orange, comma yellow. Okay, so and I'm going to give some styling for some cards UI. Okay, so this is the basic card UI. I'm going to apply it to the list on the blog page. Okay, so we're going to add that class to the div on the blog listing. So I'll save this, and then I go to the blog index page. Okay, and I'm going to go down to where it's rendering the list. So, and I'm going to add the class name equals to card. And if I save this, then go to the browser. Okay, so we got that styling applied. Okay, and in the home page is normal styling. Okay, and if I go to the individual post, so the individual post isn't applied. That's because probably we haven't configured it in the way that they've specified here. So we probably have to apply the style sheet to this as well. So I'm gonna go back and then just copy that section, and so we're going to go to the individual post route. So that's so I'm just going to paste it at the top there. So now this should have this that page will have the styles applied as well. So home page is just plain. Then blog page has got the styles applied, and if you click on the individual post, and it's got the styles applied as well. Okay, so that's how you do the styling. Okay, so that concludes this tutorial. So I hope you enjoyed it, and please subscribe to my channel if you want to see more tutorials like this. Thank you.